Hi everyone, my name is Tim Viola. I'm the writer-director of the political drama Americano and the first recipient of the Film Fund. I write and direct personally because it allows me to be the guardian of the story from its inception all the way through distribution. To me, there's a very personal message that comes through. It's a continuity that you can feel as an audience when the writer and director are the same person. There's just something that is kind of baked into the film's DNA when it's the same person who's kind of formulated the whole idea and shaped it from the script stage. You can feel it in the art direction, you can feel it in the way the actors are directed, you can feel the way the camera moves, how the cutting works, all the way through to the trailer and even the poster. There's a strong hand on the wheel of the ship, and for me, it all comes back to the audience, and to me the audience feels that, and that's what I like to do throughout the whole process. The other reason that I like to write and direct is because I'm really impatient, and I really don't want anyone telling me when it's time to tell my story. When I think about my favorite auteurs, a lot of names come to mind, but I would say the top three: Stanley Kubrick, Alfred Hitchcock, and Paul Thomas Anderson. For me, those three do an amazing job of completely immersing you in a foreign world, even if that world is your backyard. And then not only that, but the way they move us through that space, and even harder still is make us feel what it's like to be in that space. And as a director and filmmaker myself, that is a hard thing to do. When you're surrounded by crew, when you're surrounded by all these things you have to hit, you have to get 10 shots by the end of the day, you have to execute all these little pieces at the same time. And when you look at the way these auteurs crafted their films, it's astonishing, and it's something you can't help but admire. You know, the other thing to think about too is that I actually think we're on a new wave of auteurs coming through, and it's really exciting. You know, when you look at filmmakers like Barry Jenkins, who's doing an amazing job of telling very human stories, and then you have Reed Morano, who's basically redefining what it means to be a female director and cinematographer. And you have Damien Chazelle, who's making us rethink completely what the musical looks and sounds like. So I think this is an amazing time to be a filmmaker, and to be honest, while I admire the greats and legends, and we should all be familiar with them, I am equally, if not more excited by the auteurs that we're seeing right now. And I think as filmmakers, we are sitting on an amazing opportunity to join them as we kind of traverse this new world together. Hardest challenge when raising funds for a film, a project, a business, is giving folks a reason to believe in the story, a reason to believe in your project, and a reason to believe, frankly, in you. If you can hit all three of those, you'll be a business. For me, it was building trust. And when we did Americano, I wanted to have the entire cast, the entire crew, concept art, everything ready to go. I wanted it to feel like all of us were there on the starting line of this marathon, armed and ready. All we needed was the dollars to come through, and we could go. You know, after that, it's really about inviting them along for the ride and delivering one hell of a movie. For me, the Film Fund is one word: simplicity. It is all about asking you for one thing, and that's basically a sentence: what your film is about and why you need it. And actually, for us, it helped us sharpen our log line. And I thought, well, if we can get the judges to grant us these funds to help us finish the film, maybe we can get an audience to get on board too. So it was an awesome exercise to get us super sharp on the log line. The other thing I liked about it was, when you think about raising funds for post-production on anything, feature, short, it's a very time-consuming process. And not only in preparing the materials, the application, to convince people, to even begin to convince people to get your funds, then there's a long process for it to actually happen. And you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I just don't feel that's necessary right now, especially at the micro indie stage. You know, for what the Film Fund did was it just accelerated all of that. And you know, once we found out we won, it was just communicating with Tom and team and locking in our sound mix, and we were good. To me, that is the true spirit of independent filmmaking. It's quick, it's accountable, and it puts the decision-making process in our hands. My advice for filmmakers just starting out in their careers, even though I'm also in the same boat, so I'm not exactly the best person to be giving sage advice, but if I were to narrow it down, my experience thus far has taught me to trust your gut. No matter what happens, my God, trust your gut. You're going to get 100 people telling you that you're supposed to do it this way or that way or their way or the way the textbook says. You have to get coverage from here. Fuck all of it. Trust your gut. There's a reason you're getting a feeling that's saying, do it this way. Now, I'm not saying that by going that direction, you're not going to give up a few things in the meantime. You know, if there's a shot that you see in your head that you absolutely must capture, and it's a good fit for that moment in the film, it's a good fit for the characters and the story, then go for it. But you may have to sacrifice a few shots in the beginning or the end of the day to make it happen. But if you believe in it, make it happen. That's my biggest piece. Trust your gut. The other thing is stop watching Hollywood and studio films as your benchmark. As a filmmaker, it's important to watch those too, because they're a lot of fun. But you have to go back and look at the first films of your favorite filmmakers. Look at the first features, the first shorts. They're flawed. They may be done with a 3-5 person crew. The cinematography isn't great, mostly handheld, focused on a micro story. Once I stopped looking at all the big films as the benchmark, and I saw what the films were doing at that stage in the process, everything changed for me. Just light bulbs went off like crazy. I'm like, this is it. This is how you tell a story. It's accessibility, it's authenticity, and it's a shit ton more fun actually. Once you get rid of the idea that you need to build out this beast of an Arri or a Red camera. I mean, it makes for sexy behind the scenes pictures, but beyond that, at the end of the day, your story and your film is what you're delivering. All the rest is extra.